All right, let's get right into it. We're about to pull back the curtain on all these invisible forces that shape, well, everything, from the way your city is laid out to the memes you see on your phone. This, my friends, is human geography. So when you hear the word geography, what pops into your head? You probably get these flashbacks to middle school, right? Trying to memorize all the state capitals. If that's you, you're going to want to stick around because we're about to change all that.
See, real geography isn't about memorizing what is where. It's about something way deeper, and honestly, a lot more interesting. It all boils down to one simple, powerful question. This right here, this is the absolute heart of it all. Why is something located where it is? And what happens because it's there? This one little question, well, it's basically the key that unlocks the entire world.
Okay, so let's start with the most basic tool a geographer has, a map. And here's the first thing you absolutely need to know. Every single map you have ever seen is a lie. Now, it's a necessary lie for sure, but it is a lie nonetheless.
It all comes down to what's called the orange peel problem. I mean, think about it. Try to peel an orange and then lay that peel perfectly flat without stretching it or tearing it. You can't do it. It's impossible. And the same thing goes for our planet. When you try to squash a 3D globe onto a 2D map, something's got to give. You have to distort either the shape, the area, the distance, or the direction.
Which means that map makers have to choose which lie they want to tell. Take the famous Mercator map. It was amazing for European sailors because it keeps all the directions true, makes navigation a breeze. But to do that, it has to massively inflate the size of anything near the poles. Now look at the Peters projection. It does the opposite. It preserves the true size of the continents, but man, look how stretched and weird the shapes get. And to really put a fine point on it, just look at Greenland and Africa on that Mercator map. They look about the same size, right? Well, in reality, Africa is 14 times larger. Yeah, 14. Just let that sink in for a second.
So here's the big takeaway. A map isn't just a neutral picture of the world. It's an argument. And the Mercator map's argument, whether it meant to or not, had this huge political side effect. It visually puts Europe at the center and makes it look way bigger and more important than the countries near the equator. A map always tells a story about what matters.
Okay, so now that we've completely shattered your trust in maps, let's build a new toolkit. These are the core concepts the geographers use to really get to the bottom of that why of where.
First up is this idea of scale. And really, it's all about zooming in and out. Think about a problem like unemployment. It looks totally different if you're looking at it on a local neighborhood level versus a global scale, right? When you change the scale you're looking at, you start to see patterns that you would have totally missed otherwise.
Next up, geographers love to divide the world into regions. It just makes things easier to study. So you've got formal regions, which are defined by laws or data, like the official border of a country. Then there are functional regions, which are all organized around a central point, kind of like the delivery zone for your favorite pizza place. And then you have vernacular regions, which are the ones that exist in our minds, like the South or SoCal. They're culturally real for sure, but the borders are kind of fuzzy.
Now, the world is anything but static, right? Ideas, trends, cultures, they're all constantly on the move. And this movement is called diffusion. The first type is contagious diffusion. It's exactly what it sounds like. An idea spreads like a virus from one person to the next. Just think of a viral video or some TikTok dance that just sweeps through a school overnight.
But, not everything spreads from neighbor to neighbor. Sometimes ideas kind of leapfrog across space. We call this hierarchical diffusion. A trend will start in a place of power or major influence, think high fashion in Paris or New York, and it jumps directly to other major cities, and only way later does it sort of trickle down to the smaller towns. And this one is so fascinating. Stimulus diffusion. This is when the main idea spreads, but the thing itself completely changes to fit the new culture. So, McDonald's wanted to sell burgers in India. Big problem. Eating beef is a cultural taboo for many people there. So, they adapted. The idea of a fast food burger spread, but it became the Maharaja Mac, made with chicken. Genius, right?
So, we've got our toolkit. We understand scale, regions, and diffusion. Now, let's put it to work. Let's see how these concepts help us make sense of some of the biggest issues in our world, from population growth to economic inequality.
This is the demographic transition model, and wow, does it tell a powerful story about population. It basically shows this predictable path. Countries usually start out with high birth rates and high death rates, so the population is stable. Then, things like medicine and sanitation get better, and death rates just plummet. But birth rates stay high, and boom, you get a massive population explosion. Then, over time, as society gets more developed, birth rates start to fall too, and eventually you end up with a stable or even a shrinking population, which is what we're seeing in places like Japan and Germany right now. So, the big question is, how do countries even develop in the first place? Well, geographers have a couple of competing ideas. Rostow's model basically sees development as a 5-stage ladder that every single country can climb. But Wallerstein's model is completely different. It sees the world as one big, fixed system where wealthy core nations get rich by exploiting the poor periphery nations. For Wallerstein, it's not a ladder everyone can climb, it's a rigid structure.
And on the political front, you've got these constant push and pull forces inside every country. We call them centripetal forces, things like a common language or national symbols that help bind a country together. But then you have centrifugal forces, like ethnic conflicts or huge inequalities that try to tear it apart. The stability of any nation is really just a constant balancing act between these two.
Okay, so after all of that, the world might actually start to look a little bit different to you. Because you're not just seeing places anymore, are you? You're seeing the patterns, the processes, the connections. You now have the geographer's lens. You officially have the toolkit. You know to ask the why of where. You know that maps are stories, not just facts. You can look at issues at different scales. You can spot the different kinds of regions all around you, and you can trace how ideas and trends are constantly spreading and changing through space. So I'll just leave you with this question to chew on. Just look around. Right now, look at your neighborhood, your city. What invisible boundaries, functional ones, vernacular ones, are shaping your daily life? What global connections brought you the coffee you might be drinking or the phone that's probably in your hand? Once you start asking, you'll start seeing the secret rules of your world absolutely everywhere.